Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Sorry for the inconvenience. Just a while back, we were streaming, and then some interruption happened with the internet setting, and because of that, the net got disconnected. And now I'm starting afresh, and we will continue where we left off. Last time, we were discussing the possible uses of the super trend indicator. So this is where we will pick up. This is a chart of the Euro USD with the default setup and the candle period is of the hourly time frame. This is a super trend indicator. I had changed its default values from 10 as the calculation period to 50 to figure out a possibility of smoothing out some fluctuations where we see these price fluctuations from one side to other whenever there is no big trend and the prices are moving within a narrow range. In this kind of circumstances, as most of the moving averages struggle, this is also one of the derivative of the moving average. This indicator also struggles in such an environment. So I was explaining to you how we can keep things in perspective and try to come at a solution or try to figure out some possible modifications which we can then use to avoid too many losing trades in this kind of circumstances. So one classical interpretation of this indicator is to go for the long trade as long as the price is above the lower band of this indicator, and if the closing price for the last hour is below these super trend indicators upper band, then that is considered bearish. So that naturally follows that we can use the crossover from one side to other as a trading signal. When we see the price crossing from higher side to the lower side, that can be considered as a possible trade signal to go short. And if we have the price fluctuation from lower side to the higher side, then that can be pretty much considered as a signal to go long. But as I had explained to you, this is where that particular formation fails. We don't really have much big moves, not many big moves on either side, and even if those happen, those are not really sustained, so it becomes very difficult to profit in this kind of circumstances. But some ways can be found, and we will have to get to the grip of these indicators formula. But for that, you will have to use some search engine, preferably Google or anything, and look for its exact formula. If I delve into that matter, it will take whole of the session how the indicator is calculated. So we will restrict this session to the functional aspects of this indicator and how we can utilize these customizations options provided on the JForex platform to get the best of these platforms systems provided for us. So that's the whole purpose of it. And this indicator is kind of simple to understand. It is derived using the range of high and low over the given calculation period. Suppose if the calculation period is 50, then we utilize the high and low value for that given range and take the median price of it. That is, you add the high and the low and then divide it by 2. So you arrive at a median price. Then we use the ATR with a multiplier of the chosen value. So we take the volatility into consideration and then we plot these upper band and lower band from these volatility and the average price. So we get this indicator where we can utilize these moves to be bearish or bullish. So this is a good identifier, and it follows the price moves quite closely, and it also gives us a good idea. But it works best when the markets are trending. We have this substantial momentum developing on either side. It can be bullish or bearish, but if the momentum is not really sustained for long enough time, then we will have these multiple trades which will result in losses rather than profit, as the price will fluctuate from one side to the other without giving us much of a big move. Now to solve this problem, we can look to observe some changes. So we can edit this indicator and try to figure out the possible combinations which we can use then to reduce these wrong signals or lower the frequency of this. So let us try out increasing this ATR period calculation, but it is not really showing much of a change, so I will restore it back to 10, that is the default value. All right, it is taking some time to respond. Let's give it a couple of seconds. All right. Now let us try with the ATR multiplier. Let us try making it 3 and see what kind of changes are observed in its plotting. As I have increased this ATR multiplier, we are seeing quite a reduction in these fluctuations in the plotting of these super trained. Now it looks a lot more reliable. Of course, it is going to be less responsive compared to what we were observing. There will have to be substantial move for the change of trend from one side to the other. If the momentum has been bearish, then the price will have to change course and rise substantially before this indicator can give us a confirmation of sort of the change in momentum from bearish to bullish, and a similar thing follows. So this will become less responsive, but at the same time, if the underlying instrument is not really going anywhere, in those kind of circumstances, it will work in a best possible manner. As you can see, there is a optimum combination where we can utilize these range, the lower band and the upper band, as possible resistance and support zone. We can use this indicator with a higher ATR multiplier to act as a support and resistance in a sideways market, whereas we can use this indicator with a lower ATR multiplier to go for finding the trading opportunities in a trending market. But then the question becomes how you will identify if the market is bearish or bearish, bullish, or simply sideways. So if you can solve that problem, then this indicator can work in both the scenarios. You can just change its combination depending on the market conditions. If you feel that the trend is strong, then you use the lower ATR multiplier and you get a lot more responsive plotting of these indicators, upper band and lower band, which we then utilize to look for trading opportunities. But in the sideways market, we use a higher ATR multiplier, and then that it gives us a range which we can then exploit for figuring out the combination for where to get entry and where to get exit. So this is the indicator you can customize for both the scenarios, but it is not going to work in a standalone manner. You will have to figure out such a combination which will then give you a good result. So let us see what more can be done. We have all these editing options provided to us. The price is median price, but if you want to change the price which is being used to calculate these indicators, then you can do that as well. If you simply want to use the closing price, then that can be done, and we have these changes observed in the plotting of the indicator now that the closing price is used instead of the median price as was the case earlier. So please observe this plotting of the super trend. As I change the applied price, we will have significant changes in its plotting. So depending on that, we have to make the trade decisions. Now this is being plotted with the open price, high price. As I have used high price as the applied price for this calculation, we have seen the indicator moving on the higher side. So we will have significant move, a requirement of the significant move on the either side, and particularly for it to consider bearish, it will have to move substantially from higher side to the lower side, and for it to change from bearish to bullish, we will again need a significant move from lower side to higher side, as the applied price is high price. Now if I change it to the lower price, you will see it's significantly shifting on the lower side. And for change to be observed from bearish to bullish, we won't need that much of a big move from lower side to the higher side. But when we want the momentum to give us idea of change from bullish to bearish, we will indeed need significant price move from higher side to the lower side, and only afterwards we will have these confirmation being given on these super trend indicators plotted chart. So it will be showing some lag depending on the applied price. So you have to be careful which kind of applied price you want to work with. Median price was the default setup. Typical price is high, low plus closing value divided by the 3. And then we can use the weighted close price where we give more weightage to the closing price and then divide it by 4. Alright. So I will restore it back to the median price. Now, let us look at some of the aesthetic factors. If you are someone who likes the chart to look beautiful while making beautiful profits, so for that you can figure out a combination with all these color combinations being provided. So let us make chart look bit brighter. So all that we need is to add some brighter colors. All right. So I will take this combination of light blue and this yellow. So we have these possibly different changes, these different changes which we can utilize to look for the chart which will be good to look at. Okay, this is now different color combination, yellow and sky blue, and for me at least, if not for you, it is looking much better compared to the dull green and red lines. All right, so we have this combination to make things more aesthetic. Okay, so these are different styling options. Now we consider what more can be done. So we go to the levels. There is not much to be defined on these parameters. So let us consider the advanced parameters while looking for the output value of these indicators. If you want the output value to remain constant for the given candle time frame, then you have to opt for this check here. If you tick this, then the recalculation will happen only once for the each candle when new candle formation takes place, and then that value will remain constant for the given time period. But if you don't really opt for this, then depending on the current value of the closing level of the current candle, we will have certain fluctuations being observed in this output value of the super trend. So it will keep fluctuating for the given time period. So that's how this system works. If you want the time under consideration for calculation of this indicator to be highlighted, so you get a good idea of how much time you are, how much time duration is being considered while calculating these indicators, then you can highlight the time zone, and the time zone under consideration simply gets highlighted. If I increase this to higher side, suppose I make it 20, you will see that now the highlighted area has increased substantially from 10 to 20, so it has doubled. All right, then we consider other options. Now, if you want the calculation to be done from the custom data, the instrument can be anything from the chart, or you can keep it fixed. Now here one option is being given. So this is always the choice with you. You can use a fixed calculation period regardless of the charting period. Suppose if you want the indicator of this combination to be plotted only on the hourly time frame regardless of the candle period of current chart, you can keep it fixed. Now let us make it 15 minutes. So we have this indicator, the super trend. Oh, it has vanished. Let us wait some time. Okay, it has reappeared now. So this is being calculated with the 15 minutes being the candle period, whereas if you consider the chart is drawn from the hourly time frame. So you can use this combination to consider various options how this indicator is showing up on different time frame compared to the current time frame. So we can opt for this. Now if I restore it back to the use from chart, it will only show up on the calculation period which we have defined on the chart. The side can also be defined. It can be anything, ask side, bid side, depending on how you are using these price for the application of plotting of this indicator. You can keep it fixed or you can simply keep it from the chart. Anything will work. Show indicator on all periods. If this is checked, then we will have the indicators being plotted on the all period of consideration. When I change, say for example, from hourly to half an hourly, the plotting for this indicator will appear there. But if I opt out of this, then there will be no plotting of the super trend whenever I change this chart from the hourly to any other time frame, unless I tick that box and specify that this plotting of the indicator to be done on 10 minutes and hourly. So if I opt for that, the indicator will be plotted only on 10 minutes and hourly, but no other candle period. We will see this chart appearing there. So that's how this system works. Okay, now if I make it say half an hourly, there won't be any plotting of these super trend indicator. Alright, so let us now make it hourly. So this is how this combination works. Quite an interesting setup to work with. Now I will restore it to show indicator on all periods. Alright, then we can specify the base period, anything from 4 hours, day, weekly to monthly, and it will work just fine. So guys, these are the possible uses, but of course these are for representative purposes only. You can always come up with something new, and as you get more and more familiar with the uses of this indicator, you will be in a better position to figure out the possible combination which can bring you good amount of money if you are there to profit from this indicator signal. So that is the whole purpose, that you try out various combinations, you make some observations, and then figure out a possible use of this indicator to figure out the trend, whether it is bullish or bearish or sideways. You can trade the markets in all the scenarios. So thank you all for joining in. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there. The link for the JForex platform has also been included in the bio. Do check it out. Thank you all for joining in. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator, with new explanation. Till then, have a fabulous time. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.